So, for an introduction into arrays, this is starting on page 403. The big difference here, and again, this is the thing that I think that probably most of you are instinctively ready to see, is that we have been doing single-use kinds of applications, right? We have been using single-use kinds of variables all this while, where if we have several several different kinds of variables. So we would have, variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, and we would have to have each one of these declared separately, right? Even if, really, in reality, variable 1, 2, and 3 all had something similar in common, right? So let's say we were looking at sales for a day. So instead of variable 1, 2, and 3, we would have, sales Monday, and then sales Tuesday, sales Wednesday, sales Thursday. So the array gives us the ability, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4 different variables here, we would simply have an array of variables, and they would all be related together in one array. So before we get into some of the nitty-gritty, the way we actually go ahead and declare arrays, how we actually go ahead and use them, I think that there's a couple of really good things to consider here in the beginning before we get any place else. First and foremost, an array can hold a group of values, but they all have to be of the same type. So you can have integer arrays, you can have character arrays, you can have, double or floating point value arrays. You can actually have arrays of objects even, where you've got a whole collection of objects that are all similar in some way, shape, or form. And the way that we declare an array actually lets Java know basically the way the array is being set up from the beginning. But before we get that far, there's one really important note here that the text and no text really harps on, and it's not until you get out into the field and you make a colossal mistake that you have to worry, or that you know that you have to worry about this. The way an array works is when you declare an array, the environment has to go out and set up a contiguous storage space for it. So if I declare an array of integer values, and let's say that I have, that is way too many for inside of here. Let's say that I have 10 values that I want in here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 10 values in our array. It's important to the smooth operation of your compile and runtime environment that each of these array elements, beginning here with array at element 0 and ending here with array at element 9, it's important that these are contiguous. So they have to exist literally one storage location after another, after another, after another, after another, after another in memory, because if we don't do that, we lose containment on the array. Java actually is nice in that it does a bunch of the considerations that other languages do not do for you right here, by virtue of the way it is that you declare your array, which we'll talk about in the next video. But do consider this going in. When you are going to use an array, whatever the type of data it is that that array holds, it doesn't really matter. Before, or at compile and runtime, so there's kind of an exchange that happens there, right? At compile and runtime, Java has to set aside enough storage for your array, and it has to be contiguous. And if you think about a system, that's hard to do. So we are recording here on my iPad, and there is like not a lot of storage space happening here. So if I was to declare here on my iPad an array, the problem or the challenge, and really it's a problem, the iPad would have is, look, I need contiguous storage. So there has to be some place on this system where if I am declaring a 10 integer array, I need space for 10 integers. That's not a huge deal. But 10 objects, on the other hand, that can be a colossal deal. When you are developing in Java, you don't know what kind of platform it is that it's going to be ultimately run on, right? That's one of the great flexibilities built right into Java. But the challenge there is going to be the idea of contiguous memory, like you see here. There's got to be storage space, one after another, after another, after another, after another. And that can really be a challenge for a system. But in general, before we get any farther, it's important to understand that an array is really just a collection of multiple values of the same type of data. So integers, doubles, floats, etc.